Hi, Kyle from J.Racenstein. Today we're going to talk about tips when using your Triumph scraper. Now there's a few things we're going to want to do. The first thing when using our Triumph scraper is we're going to want to make sure the surface we're scraping is going to be a little bit wet. Soap is preferable. We want to make sure that it's wet, there's no friction on the surface, and it might loosen up any of the material we're trying to remove. So once we've got it wet, we want to make sure that we're using the scraper between a 30 and 45 degree window. When we do that, we want to make sure that we're not getting too steep or too shallow and potentially having the scraper edge or anything like that catch and scrape the surface we're cleaning. So between 30 and 45 degrees from the paint. Next thing we want to do is we want to make sure that what we are scraping and removing is intended to be removed. And now scrapers are great at removing film and adhesives and stickers, but we want to make sure that when we're scraping, we're not removing the film from the window that's supposed to be there, and we're only scraping the side that does not have the film. Now we can test to make sure that there's film or not film, or we can look, but we want to make sure that we're not scraping the top of film, as it can scratch, peel, remove that film unintentionally. The next thing we're going to want to do is make sure to be careful when working with our blades and not get too close, because they're very sharp and can easily harm or injure anybody. Then, while talking about blades, we want to make sure that there's no visible cracks, chips, or specifically rust. Anytime a blade rusts, it's very prone to transferring that rust to the surface, scratching the surface, or damaging the surface. Then when using it, we want to make sure that when we get closer to the edges, the frames of the window, we want to make sure we start to be a little bit more careful, a little bit more methodical with our approach, as if it skips or we get a little too aggressive and it accidentally jam it into the surface, you might scratch, damage, chip the paint, or damage the windowsill or frame of it, and potentially have to deal with repairs or replacing.